Their flagging campaign, that's the focus of tonight's angle. Nothing they do is breaking through. Biden's numbers, they're in the toilet on the economy, inflation, immigration. Voters say they trust Trump over our bumbling incumbent. Their focus on abortion, that hasn't gotten them any traction. Same with their drumbeat about January 6th. It turns out that no one, except for maybe Robert De Niro and his ilk, believes that democracy is on the line or that Trump's a dictator. And since the Trump trials are also boomeranging back on them, all the Democrats and their media flacks can do, I guess, is try what failed again, with a slightly tweaked narratives. Now, that brings us to the left's phony Flaggate story after the New York Times posted a second hit piece last week attacking Justice Alito over which flags fly outside his homes, like the historic Appeal to Heaven flag.
Samuel Alito has identified himself with the same people who raided the Capitol on January 6th. In the Senate, we have gavels. There should be subpoenas going out. There should be active investigations that are happening.
He can't play fast and loose with these political symbols without jeopardizing his own integrity.
Their goal, well, to undermine the legitimacy of the court they no longer control, and to try to force Alito to recuse himself from all the January 6 cases. Now, they've never accepted, we all know, that the court can legitimately be more conservative now. They've never accepted it. And this flag nonsense, I was thinking about it today, it's just an extension of the confirmation battles going all the way back to Bork, back to Thomas, and back to Kavanaugh. They also hope to use this flag nonsense to whip up their otherwise quite demoralized activist base in an election year. One problem. It's perhaps the stupidest thing ever. Now, let's give a short history lesson for the leftists who hate America so much they apparently just don't read any books.
Flag of the United States of America, your flag and mine is symbolic of a living country and a government of, by, and for the people. There were many other forerunners of the Stars and Stripes. The pine tree flag used by the Continental Navy.
It's such a controversial flag that it was featured in the opening credits of the award-winning HBO series John Adams. Now, the flag, with its Appeal to Heaven motto as a backdrop, is an important piece of American history, and it was really important at the founding of the country. Our desire to be free from British control, that's what it represents. National Review explains the flag was designed in 1775 by Colonel Joseph Reed, Washington's personal secretary at the time, and was specifically commissioned by Washington himself. And it remains the official maritime flag of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, it even flew high above San Francisco's Civic Center Plaza for decades until this past Saturday. Oops. Now, the New York Times, of course, claimed that Alito's flag flying was provocative and that he's now associated with a push for a more Christian-minded government. Now, this whole thing started a couple weeks ago when the Times hit Alito for flying an upside-down American flag outside his home for a few days back in January 2021. Yeah, going back that far. It was a piece that the Washington Post, by the way, chose not to publish at the time because at the time it was such a stupid non-story. And now, well, we're getting new background on the flag context involved here. Alito told Fox News Digital that his wife chose to fly the flag after being provoked by an angry liberal neighbor. Now, the BLM and Biden-supporting unmarried couple in their 30s, living, by the way, with the woman's mother, classy, claimed that they weren't the ones who started anything here, despite the woman admitting to having put up a F Trump and you're complicit sign. And despite, by the way, having called Mrs. Alito the C word. Wow, C word. Really? That's smart. Classic move by an angry liberal wombat. Now, in a letter to Congress sent today, Justice Alito refused to recuse himself, noting that he asked his wife to take the flag down after he noticed it, although for several days she just refused. He reiterated that he didn't know that there was a political statement here and that the flag flying arose from that neighborhood spat. Now, Alito himself, he said, is not fond of flying flags, but his wife is. Now, from these facts, it is absolutely ludicrous, even to the little bitty pea brain of a liberal, to conclude that Alito should feel somehow compelled to recuse himself from January 6 or other Trump-related cases. But again, I'm going to go back to what I keep saying all show. The Biden team literally has nothing else to run on. This is an election year, and they certainly can't risk the debate being focused on the issues that voters actually are worried about, like the economy, like the border. And they're so desperate to get back to this phony insurrection that they branded back on January 6th that they're trotting out Capitol Police officers who were there on January 6th to stand outside the courthouse. One's even going to campaign for Biden in Nevada. Yeah. And don't think for a second that the key press apparatchiks out there in the Biden campaign aren't coordinating these stories. Democrats know full well, I think, that they're going to lose this if it's a regular campaign. If the frame of this race is what was better, the 3.5 years under Biden or 4 years under Trump, we lose that every day of the week and twice on Sunday, said a longtime Democrat strategist to Politico. Well, just look at the way Politico framed the Biden campaign press conference yesterday, saying that more than any other day of the trial, fueled by the Biden campaign's involvement, the courthouse and its immediate vicinity on a Tuesday became the center of litigation for something besides the hush money trial for the November election. Confirming what we said all along. This is all political. Yeah, we know this is always political. Only now they're stupid enough to confirm it with Dumbo De Niro out there outside the courthouse. Well, fortunately, the American people don't seem to be buying it.
Think Trump did something illegal in the New York hush money case. I've been interested in whether or not these numbers would change at all during the course of this trial. Simply put, John, they have not. The percentage of Americans who think that the charges are very serious, in fact, dropped from 40% to a little bit more than 35% during the course of this trial.
Yeah, people are busier cleaning out their sock drawer. All right, people are a lot smarter, as usual, than the Democrats think they are. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.